This is the Transformers Generations Studio Series 86, figure number 05 from Transformers the movie Voyager class Scourge. Now looking absolutely magnificent. Really liking this figure right out of the packaging. Just looking at the packaging, the figure looks amazing. I picked up this figure from Hobby Corner. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is Scourge out of packaging, and the robot mode turned out beautifully. I love this figure. Some nitpick here and there, some parts of improvement. Yeah, sure. But overall, this robot mode turned out great. It's so accurate. I love it. I love it how he looks so much like how I saw him on the cartoon. The color scheme is great. The weapon is great. Transformation, it's a little testy at times. But we'll see later. The alt mode is pretty good, but suffice to say, looking at him now in robot mode, this is the Scourge I grew up with, watching that movie and season 3 of the Generation 1 Transformers. Looking at the details of the figure, let's start with some size comparisons. Here he is with Kingdom Cyclonus and Earthrise Thundercracker, because we all know Thundercracker was reformatted into Scourge. They're all Voyager class figures, and you can clearly see how Cyclonus towers over the Studio Series Scourge. The other accessories that this figure came with is a really nice backdrop diorama of the reformatting scene in Unicron, where Unicron turns Thundercracker into the Scourge, or Scourge. It also comes with this interesting blast effect. I'm not entirely sure what this is. It's like a ribbon laser beam. It'll fit on any of the War for Cybertron trilogy or Studio Series 86 blaster ports. This is a wonderful, wonderful Count Dracula Fu Manchu head sculpt of Scourge, and this is how he really looked like. So props to Hasbro for nailing that head sculpt. The head sculpts for me are what's really going for these figures. I don't know why. It's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I am so enamored by the head sculpts that Hasbro has been putting out in these 86 figures. They're comparable to the War for Cybertron trilogy figures, and I just absolutely love them. Look at this. Even has that crest. Yeah, you can do it this way if you want to, but this is the way the instructions tell you. There is no light piping, unfortunately. His eyes are just painted that bit of a blood red paint. Nice paint, blue paint to contrast on the chest right here, so you can highlight the Decepticon symbol. Nice paint overall, hardly anything to complain about. The plastic they use, the blue type of plastic, is made of this quality premium plastic. None of that cheap, soft PVC plastic we've been seeing in some of the figures from Kingdom. But I'm very impressed with the way this thing turned out. There is some kibble right here at the back, which arguably a bit of an eyesore for me and for some fans, but I guess that's just the way he is when back in G1 or in the cartoon. The cartoon, I think I just saw mostly the wings, so if at all, I maybe would have wished that this would have had an extra hinge to fold up that way, but that would probably be already in the masterpiece level, and you know, that cost a little bit more money, so they kept that kibble. And for ease and facility of transformation, I guess it would be nicer. I guess this being a solid kibble would have been better just to facilitate transformation. But if you wanted this one to look more like a masterpiece figure, Hasbro or Takara Tomy could have easily put a hinge right here. This would have folded nicely and compressed on the back, and you would just see his Dracula vampire wings floating on his back. And that would have been pretty cool, because that was how he looked like in the cartoon, and even in the movie you just really saw these wings and very minimal kibble on the back. His blaster came out great. Lots of hollow places here and there. It very much looks like his G1 blaster. It's not an exact likeness, but it's very close, so I'm very happy with that. I love that they've sculpted the other hand in this reaching out hand, so it's like when he's flying. Articulation for the figure, he's got a ball jointed neck, but unfortunately that goatee is really hindering a little bit of the articulation, especially when looking from side to side. He can't look up as much as I want him to. I wish they could have added an extra hinge so he could look up when he's flying. He's got a waist swivel. Arms can go in and out, forward and backward. There is a bicep swivel, hinge elbow, no wrist articulation. Oh, there is. Sorry, my bad. I thought I thought it was a solid piece. Yeah, there's some nice wrist articulation. They didn't have to put that, but I'm glad they did. So, wow, yeah, pretty cool. I can actually pose the hand in better this way. So, yeah. Okay, the feet have the rocker pivots, rocker joints. Pretty cool. Not that much, though. Toes can go up and down because of transformation. The knee can hinge 90 degrees. Hips can go in and out, like do the splits, forward and backward, and a thigh swivel. This probably, again, is my gripe in terms of articulation for this figure. Much like the Blur thigh swivel, it's the same one they employed for Scourge, and it really hinders a lot of the poses I want him to get into, but not as much as Blur, because there's a little bit of clearance right here on the crotch piece, so you can still rotate that thigh swivel even if you've got the leg bent up, so that's okay. It wasn't such a deal breaker for me, not like with Blur, but they could have improved that, and I probably wish they could have just made a cut right here and that made that swivel, but I guess the design team at Hasbro did not want to break that silhouette, that sculpt of the thigh, which is great. They're trying to make this one look more like a masterpiece, so okay, I get where they're coming from with this kind of thigh articulation. It just hinders that posability for the legs by a little bit because of that kind of limitation. And now for the dreaded transformation. Well, not really. I mean, it's a little tricky, but it's not as easy as it looks. So, first thing you want to do, put the weapons and accessories off to the side. Make sure everything's aligned properly. Combine the legs together. Make sure everything's flush. Okay, and then pull out the shoulders like this. It sounds scary. It feels like you're gonna break something. I hope you don't. I hope the pegs last. But it is a tight tab, very tight to unpeg. Go ahead and tab the arms all the way down to the legs. Go ahead and untab these. And then here, you're gonna wanna flip this piece right here, like that. And then this one will rotate like this. And then we'll fold in just like that. And then this one is going to fold up like this. You're going to untab that whole neck assembly joint just like this. And then you're going to stretch like this. And then tab this flap right here onto the legs. Like that. Fold the heel spurs. Fold the toes. Okay, and then the kibble, the back kibble, is going to slot in like this. This is a weird T-shaped flared tab. I keep thinking that something's going to give or something's going to break. Either this one's going to break or that one's going to break. It's not my favorite part of the transformation, but that's what you got to do. Okay, same on this side. Okay, just like that, like this. And then, okay, this one folds like this, collapses onto the face to cover the face. Okay, is that okay? We doing it okay? Okay. And then collapse this whole wing assembly like that. Okay. And then these wings sort of form like hydrofoils on the bottom. They kind of conceal bits of the robot, just like that. It's not flat, doesn't tab onto anything or anything like that. And there you go. There is Scourge in his weird-looking Cybertronian spacecraft. I mean, yeah, it was pretty weird back in the 80s, the kind of spaceship he had. But it's okay. It's very close to how he looked like in the cartoon. So I'm not complaining too much. I don't like the bottom part, but that's fine. No wheels or anything like that. Yeah. Aesthetics is pretty cool. The transformation to get here was a little tricky. But yeah, there is also, the instructions do say this. You can sort of pop his head out if you wanted to. Because there was an episode when he was the whole transformation, you gotta split this whole thing back up and then just fold everything back out. And then you can actually lift and raise this head, his head like this. It's in the instructions because if you recall, there was an episode where he was attacking with the sweeps, Scourge and the sweeps, and his head was sticking out like that. And, you know, it was kind of funny back then. So here is that infamous head sticking out version of his ultimate, and he was attacking sweeps, attack. It's kind of cheesy. I'm honestly not a big fan of this. And for some size comparisons, here he is with Cyclonus. So yeah, I think the scale works. Obviously, it'd be much bigger since he's a bigger figure, Cyclonus. All we need is the sweeps, and from the looks of this insert, I think they're going to just recycle this because you have the Insecticons being reformatted. I honestly think this is an insert for the sweeps. I can't really blame Hasbro for just recycling their dioramas. We're probably going to get a sweeps redeco of this figure. It's been rumored, but no confirmation from Hasbro, so I don't want to speculate that much. But if we do, that would be awesome. And they don't really have to do much. They just need to change that head sculpt. Maybe make the color a little bit more vibrant, but I doubt they will do that. They'll probably just change the head sculpt. And all we really need is a new mold for Galvatron, not some retool of that Titan's Return Galvatron, but an actual, honest-to-goodness Galvatron, accurate, screen-accurate mold, and we'll have the entire Decepticon armada for Season 3. And so some final thoughts on this figure. I think it's a great figure. It definitely is a very good representation of Scourge and how he looked like in the movie and in the cartoon. I really liked it. It has its flaws. Transformation can be a little tricky and can detract a little bit of the fun in the figure. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with the figure's aesthetics, look and feel, the quality of the plastic, and a little bit of the playability and fun aspect of the figure. The figure is going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's a well-made Scourge figure. It is definitely an amazing attempt, a very, very strong effort on Hasbro to give us an 86 Scourge. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this figure. Is it as nice as I say it is? Was I a little bit too hard on it? Do you think it's a perfect figure? Let me know in the comment section, and as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching.